Hey, what's up guys? Thanks again for tuning into my channel. I hope you guys enjoyed my gank build that I have. If you haven't, look up the Stamina Nightblade gank build for 1 tamriel. This is the Stamina DK that I've been working on. Sorry it's taken me a while to upload the video. I've actually had a hard time with this build. It's a very hard class for me to play, but it's very enjoyable. Definitely a fun build. We don't have any keep bonuses at the moment. We do have the Emperor bonus, which is giving us the added health. So the weapon damage buff that you're about to see is just the build itself. So if you look at it, 4101 on the two-hander, it's really good for damage. This is a really strong build. This is another ability that you can add to it. Molten Armament actually only adds about 100 more weapon damage, 100 or so. So I don't really use it. It could make a difference, but I'd rather have the extra resistance that volatile armor gives you. Heroic Slash is one of the main abilities for this build. It helps you regenerate that ultimate faster, and it cuts down the movement speed, which is really important because we're using the Wrecking Blow, which is a very slow skill. So by slowing down their movement speed, it gives you a chance to hit them. Volatile Armor, which gives you the spell resistance and physical resistance. Like I said, this skill you can actually replace it. If you're maybe fighting in a large group, you can use Caltrops instead. If you're dueling and you know there's a Nightblade, Caltrops is also the better option. It's uses up some stamina, but it's really good. I prefer the resistance myself, especially if you're 1vx in or one-on-one. It's just good stuff to have that extra armor on. You can see our spell resistance and physical resistance is already pretty high, so it's really not a must, but it does help. If you want to switch it out, you can always replace it with something else. I don't really rely on dots a lot. It's more of a burst build. Igneous Shield, really good. It actually absorbs a lot of damage, and I thought about removing this ability, but seeing that it gives you Major Mending, which increases your healing done by 25% for 6 seconds, this is a must-have. If you think about it, for stamina builds, the healing is really low, really bad. So adding a 25% healing done to you can mean the difference between life and death in a battle. Let's see, maybe I can figure out a way to put some numbers up. We can take a look at what it does. So you just saw 2300 on Vigor. You can actually look at your tooltip also, and you'll be able to see the difference once you use Major Mending. Reverberating Bash is also a really good skill to use for this. You're not only looking at the physical and stunning that you do with it, but the defile. So you reduce the enemy's healing done. Really good stuff if you're fighting Templars. If you're fighting any kind of class that's buffing up to heal itself. Now for the ultimate, I prefer Flawless Dawnbreaker, but I don't have it yet. So Standard of Might has been pretty decent for the defensive bar. I would put Dawnbreaker on the Sword and Shield because it's a defensive ability. Even though it hits really hard, you can actually have the knockback effect, and it gives you a chance to take a breath, regenerate yourself a little. And I use the Take Flight on my offensive bar because Take Flight is more of an offensive ultimate where you can come in and bash everything. Obviously we are using Rally for the empowerment and the heal. And you can see on the tooltip right now, if you look at it, the healing that it does is a little bit higher than normal. That's because of the Major Mending that we're getting. See, if we go back to it, it's only at 950. So the 25% increase is really good. I'm using Critical Rush. You can actually go with the other morph, which slows down the movement of the enemy. Also really good for, since you're using the Dizzying Swing or the Wrecking Blow, it gives you a chance to hit them. But I like the Critical Rush because it does a lot of damage and it's a 100% crit. So every attack that you do with this is going to be crit damage. Really good for initiating the fight. We were using Reverse Slice for the Executioner. The reason why I use this ability is because it gives the enemies nearby 84% of the damage that the original target gets inflicted. So if you come in with Take Flight and you reverse slice somebody to death, whoever's around him is going to take tons of damage. It's pretty insane. So this is the reason why I'm going with reverse slice on this build. Shuffle, obviously this is a really good skill to have. The evasion that it gives you is insane. Makes the build seem more tanky. Dizzying Swing, obviously, which is what we're going after. Rake and Blow is good for the empowerment, but Dizzying Swing gives you the knockback effect, so it gives you a chance to catch yourself off too. Really good ability for this build. And like I said, Take Flight is the ultimate that I'm using here, just because it's so much more aggressive. For the boon, I'm using the Warrior, but I think the Shadow was actually more effective for this build. You're actually constantly critting with it. And a few more damage on crit damage can mean the difference also. The Warrior is really good, but you already have tons of damage. I'm an Orc for the race. The passive increases your weapon damage with melee weapons. So it's actually kind of compensates for it. Redguard would be the preferred race for this build, obviously, but Orc actually is pretty good, pretty tanky also. So for the sets that I'm using, I'm not using any monster sets just because I figured I wanted a basic build, something that's strong, fast, powerful without having to get all fancy. So I'm using 5 Alchemist on my defensive bar, which is my buff bar, Sword and Shield. And my two-hander is two-hander Mole of Hunting's Rage. So we also have the 5 and 5, which gives you the added damage to the build. Proc your Alchemist and switch to your offensive bar. I'm using 2 heavy pieces. The chest and the legs are heavy. But you could run medium on this build with 1 heavy instead. Just the main difference is the resistance and your weapon critical. Your crit goes up, you have a little bit more stamina, so it doesn't hurt the build to have 2 heavy pieces. I've actually seen more resistance with the heavy. It's still pretty hardcore. You won't get killed as easy even if you're wearing the medium pieces, but if you go with 2 heavy, you're definitely gonna see a huge difference. So this is the basic build. This is the main reason why I'm keeping the 2 heavy and 5 medium. Even though with Wrath you can get the weapon damage up, it takes a little bit longer to accumulate it. But you'll probably be more tanky for sure. But with 5 medium, you actually have an increase in your critical rating, and you also get an increase in weapon damage. So it's beneficial to have the 5 piece. You want that burst that you have with Alchemist, but at the same time, if you're not proccing Alchemist, you still want to be doing decent damage. For my jewelry, I'm using the Rings of Agility. I'm using 1 in Magic because we do use a little bit of Magicka. Our shield, some of our buffs are mainly focused on Magicka. You don't want to spam them too much. For the food, I'm using Tri-Stat food for the same reason. You could go health and stam to give you a little bit more tooltip on it, but seeing that you want to put your shield up from time to time, you might need a little bit more Magicka, which is why I'm using Tri-Stats. For the potions on Alchemist, I'm really just using Trash Pots, but if you want something better, go ahead and go with either critical or immovable pots. It'll benefit you more in a fight. Here's the setup for the champion points. Again, you can probably switch some of this stuff up, but this has been pretty good for me. It's been working out just fine. This one, Shattering Blows, you can actually go with Melee Weapon Expert to increase the damage done. But like I said, the reason why I chose Orc is for that. And Shattering Blows actually helps you whenever you're fighting DKs or Blazing Shield, Sorix. You know, once you break through that shield, it gives you an advantage. But again, you can take away from there and add it to a different stand, more penetration maybe. Um, the rest is pretty basic. Here also, one of the things that I find really important is the quick recovery. So I put 25 points into quick recovery for the same reason. Stamina builds have really bad heals, but you want to keep yourself buffed up and healed during a battle, and increasing your healing done plus adding major mending to it is a huge boost. You can see right now after I put my shield on, you can see the difference. 14, 14 2. My health over 5 seconds also went up, and this is without it. So you can actually see a difference. And you'll feel it. You're definitely going to feel the difference in a battle. Well, I think I've added some of the videos for this build, so I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you have any questions, go ahead and comment. Or any suggestions are really appreciated. Well, I hope you guys enjoy the build and enjoy the video. And thanks again for watching, guys.